Wow, aloha family. This is my very first Spotify podcast. And quite honestly, I've been doing this for a while, but every time I click that go live button or record, I always get nervous. And so let me just be the first to say thank you for just deciding to click on my podcast. It is 1:36 in the morning, September 12th, 2023. So this might be a moment in history. We'll see. And I'm doing this from a cell phone. And normally I have equipment. I usually have, some decent quality microphones and sound processing. But I figured out my first one's going to be organic on the fly. And this would be more of an introductory podcast for those that are going to be watching me or hearing me for the first time. I'm just a typical local brother from Hawaii, born and raised. I am multi-ethnic, if that's important to anybody. My mom was Hawaiian Chinese. My dad is Filipino. And so growing up in Hawaii, you learn a lot about culture, the types of foods, the way people live, the way they work, the way they talk. I don't speak multiple languages, although that would be pretty cool if I could speak all three of those. But English is the primary and currently the only language I can speak. However, I am learning a little bit of Native Hawaiian, or Olelo Hawaii, as we say. I'm using an app called Mango Languages. And so, not that that's important, but I figure I usually just say whatever's off the top of my head. I want to encourage you guys, if you're not following me on Twitter, Instagram, well, actually, pretty much every social media outlet, it's the real Greg Lopez. I'll have it probably in the description where you can see what it sounds like or what it's spelled like. It's not an easy username, but once you see it, it's like, okay, I know that guy. So it should be easy to find once you recognize it for the first time. My website is gLo.com. I'll also put that in the description. So if you're like, well, okay, he's been talking for 2 minutes, like, what exactly is this guy? What does he do? To be straight to the point, anything and everything about Hawaii is what I share or what I've been sharing. But I think in this season, in this chapter of my life, I'm taking it a little bit further as to not just being about Hawaii, because not everybody cares about being in a tropical island in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. But I do believe that there is a lot that I can share in regards to the upbringing, the lifestyle that I was raised out of. And now that we are living in Oregon, in the central, I think they call it the high desert in central Oregon. There's a lot to be shared, especially in the culture, the way the practices, all the things that we were raised in Hawaii. And now that we're here in the mainland, as we say, to see the differences and also how to navigate, because it's been a major culture shock for my family to leave the tropical greatness that we call paradise or Hawaii and to be in the mainland in Oregon, and they have winter and snow for the first time for my kids, and just navigating through all of that, and also all of the connections that I've made throughout the years and being able to have those discussions, to connect with people. And I promise you, here on Spotify, I'm going to be doing a lot more of conversation because it's challenging without having visuals, but I think it'll be interesting. If you've been following me on Twitter, YouTube, or Twitch, or even on Facebook, you notice that I do talk a lot, but there's also a lot of visuals. And so some of the guests I've had are obviously content creators. I've had a couple of reality TV show stars that have been gracious enough to spend time with me and do a podcast. I've had motivational speakers, even someone that is in the area of psychology, those kind of things. And those are just some of the things that interest me. And I'm hoping that will translate well over to Spotify. And I'll close it with this. Someone had mentioned on a podcast with Joe Rogan, and they were talking about how Joe Rogan has literally taken ownership of the podcasting space. Spotify, I gave him a contract of $200 million over whatever period of time it is. And this individual told him, man, like, you've pretty much cornered the market for yourself. And Joe Rogan said, no, if anything, I've opened it up for everyone. And I totally agree with that. And he said that there is so much room in this space. And I totally agree with that because not everybody wants to watch a certain particular podcast or someone that's what they call long form conversation, long form social media. And so I'm believing that in this season, in this chapter, even in my life, I believe that there's something that's been placed before me to be a good steward of, and that is this space of long form conversation, long form social media. I think we've been so desensitized and so conditioned to swipe the screen after 5 to 10 seconds if we're not interested in what we're looking at. And this is where I'm believing that Spotify will produce some pretty cool results. And along the way, I look forward to sharing my life with you, and hopefully we can all learn something together. So stay tuned. Thank you for listening for the past 6 minutes. I hope you guys have a blessed day. Aloha.